What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? So welcome to another week. So if you have not done so already, or like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, watch us on Mondays and Tuesdays are our topics. Wednesday discussion. Thursdays is Ask Us SP, where I interview somebody who's either breaking into cyber on their journey in cyber or have reached those senior level and C-suite positions to kind of give some advice and things of that nature, or tools to progress to where they're at. And then on Fridays, everything else: movies, books, games, all that good stuff. So without further ado, I give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. So this article comes from thehackernews.com. It's attributed to the newsroom, so I guess there's several people that provided information for the article. But the title of this one is Europol Dismantles Ragnar Locker Ransomware Infrastructure, Nabs Key Developer. So they're going after these cyber gangs, y'all. I'm telling y'all, right? So this was on, let's see, the 20th, I believe it was. So October 20th, right? Europol on Friday announced to take down an infrastructure associated with Ragnar Locker ransomware, along with the arrest of a key target in France, right? So Europol has been working in conjunction with other countries, right? So this is one of those things where it's multinational, right? So this is a coordinated exercise. It's authorities from Czechia, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Latvia, the Netherlands, Spain, Sweden, Ukraine, and the U.S. Right. So they had two suspects that were associated with the ransomware crew, and they were arrested from Ukraine in 2021. Right. So a year later, they got another member that was apprehended in Canada, but this was before the one that they just got recently. That was the key developer. Right. So this is one of those things where they are out there looking for people. They're looking for these gangs, right? So if you're out there trying to get money, trying to make money on these extortion, doing this ransomware, they out there looking for you, right? So the Ragnar Locker group, they got them, right? They got some key figures. They're kind of dismantling them. But what they talk about in the article here, and what they mention is that these places, when they get disbanded, I guess, like this, they almost always end up coming back, right? They come back with a new name. They operate possibly in a different country, sometimes, but they are out there. They are out there looking for you, right? So like, and again, it was multinational. You saw all the countries that were listed, right? Or the ones that I just read off. It is important to everybody. So if it's not apparent from the almost 500 episodes of this podcast that cybersecurity is something to be taken seriously, this right here is going to let you know that. And again, this was led by Europol, but again, it did have the US in it, right? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we're a part of Europol, right? We're not in Europe. I'm fairly certain we're not European police, but it's one of those things where it's like, hey, we know you guys think this is very important as well. They reach out again, Latvia, Spain, like they go to all these different countries. So just be on the lookout, cyber criminals, because they are coming for you. Okay, like they are not playing with y'all anymore. And again, you're making yourself a target because you're doing these things that are I want to say against the public trust, right? Like this is when you start going after utilities, when you start going after, financial information, hospital information, and you're ransoming it off, like you're profiting from it. So it's not like you're being hacktivists, right? Like they're going after groups that are doing ransomware, right? So like you are committing a cyber crime, and then you're trying to get paid for it. You're like, all right, if you don't want this out, this is what I want, right? So they talk about it in this article, and they go into some other things that have happened as well, right? So we talk about dismantling of Hive, which is another group that was out there. They talk about things that go as far back as January 2015, right? There was a group that was that started up in 2015 that was taken down in 2020, right? So they're out there looking for y'all. Okay, so just be mindful. This is not as profitable. I don't think it's going to be as profitable going forward as it has been in the past, and it's something that's being talked about around the world, Europe, and a little bit of foreshadowing even in the U.S. It's something that's coming to the attention of some politicians that are out there. All right, so stick around to hear about that one. But Ryan, what's your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff if you have not already to the podcast. But no, I found it interesting how robust this group was, right? So it showed that it was 168 different companies that they attacked across the world, that dealt with critical infrastructure. So they were after your water, after your energy, after your supply chain and things of that nature. So with having such a big reputation, that I can see the aggression, right? The U.S. reaching out to Interpol or Europol in this case, and trying to nab these people. And then we talked about it a couple weeks ago, how they're trying to stand up kind of like tribunals for cyber criminals, right? Like, so now it's going to hit the international stage. So these people will be tried for their crimes, and depending on, I guess, who wins in this case, then they'll be extradited to that country. So they could wind up in the US or Japan or Germany to serve their time. So it's I still find it interesting how these syndicates or cyber cabals, if you will, are stood up and function like regular companies. In this case, is this person is the developer, right? Like he's out there putting together the software that's being used by the hackers in this case, and now he or she is gonna serve time. So I definitely want to circle back to this one to see how much time they get, right? Like I'm sure it's going to be a humongous fine on top of, uh, who's to say 5 years to a decade in prison for their wrongdoings to several international companies. So uh, I don't think it's worth it. Like I get maybe back in the day it was profitable to be in that space, but now like with the FBI and Department of Justice and then the international crowd searching for you or trying to trip you up. Like we talked about, like apps on phones, like taking down drug dealers and things of that nature. Like they're getting very aggressive. I don't think it's a space where you're going to be making very much profit for very much longer, right? You'll just be just like every other criminal, right? Like just just doing what you do and then doing your time, and the time is far more costly than the profit that you would have made in your wrongdoing. Like, plus you're talented. Just go out there and get a job, right? It's probably paying half as much. You're doing twice as much, but you're safe. So,
You know, it's funny to me, like, and this could just be my crazy mind, right? Like, I think to myself, like, when I read stuff like this, like, we're gonna get to the point because as you start recruiting more and more people to help with these types of things, it's a younger generation, right? And they're all about memes and gifs or gifs, however you pronounce it, right? And so, like, I imagine there's gonna come a time to where like they're gonna track these people down and they're gonna start getting like memes on their phones, like that say stuff like, "Oh, you think it's a game?" and then their door gets kicked in. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, like
it's about
yeah, the authorities are finally hit the age.
yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They
Is
send
that
you
this?
a meme with the Kool-Aid man.
Yeah, like that's the crowd. That's the crowd that is coming up and doing these things
Yeah.
now. You know what I mean? So like, again, just a crazy thought in my head. Like when I read stuff like this, I'm like, man, they're gonna start doing some funny stuff. Like I hope it comes to light too, right? Cause like,
Right.
see, I was right. You know.
Right. Send you I can't even imagine. Just ready to kick your door in. But yeah, I mean, yes, that's definitely the generation that's joining the force, so to speak. So that's pretty hilarious. Like, so yeah, I look forward to seeing that in the future. But please tune in every week. So we do 5 episodes a week. We've been doing so for several years now. So we have a huge archive, so you can always go back. A lot of stuff is very timely, um, as well as can span a lot. Like the Throwback Thursdays, I go back and I'm like, oh yeah, this still fits. This is still happening. Or I want to highlight a person that I spoke to. So if you have not done so already, please go back next week to previous week, I'm sorry, and check out James Carroll III's interview with us. It was back from season 1, episode 155. Now we're like 400 and something, season 2. Um, but definitely hit up the website. That goes all the websites that go by our name. Give me a person. I'm at Right Security Guy. I can be reached on LinkedIn, Clubhouse, Twitter, and Threads. Um, that's pretty much it. Stay safe, stay secure.